Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jeff Gomez. I'm the performance manager for UCC, and I have the privilege and the honor to interview some Olympian and Paralympian today. So today I have with me Margaret Cremen and Aoife Casey. So Mike and Aoife won the silver in the 2020 European Rowing Under 23 Championship in the lightweight the lightweight women double sculls, and they finished 8th at the recent Tokyo Olympic. Tara won the bronze in 2020 in the one pairs at the European 23 Championships alongside Emily Hegarty, and the pair went on to compete at the Senior European Championships in Poznan and finished first. And Tara went to Tokyo as the reserve for the women four. And we have Mary Fitzgerald, who's a shot putter. She's competing in the F40 classification. She won the bronze at the European Championships last June in Poland and came 6th at the recent Tokyo Paralympics. So, ladies, you're very welcome. How are you doing today? You good?
Thanks. Feeling good.
Okay. So, just to start it up, can I just ask you, because you're all student athletes, so can I just ask you, what are you studying in UCC?
So I'm in my final year of occupational therapy at UCC. So in my 4th year. Yeah, so kept busy, definitely.
Okay. Mags?
I'm in 3rd year of sports studies and physical education with Irish. So I had to split my 2nd year over 2 years. So I'm in 3rd year now full time. So it's nice to be back as a student again. So.
Okay. We'll go Aoife.
So I'm doing my final year of medical and health sciences. I managed to stay studying all throughout my rowing. So I'm up to date with all my college and stuff. Wow. So I'm kind of bogged down with the work now in 4th year, but I'm enjoying it.
Okay. And Tara?
I'm in final year commerce. So I split my year last year as well, my 3rd year. So I'm in technically my 5th year of UCC. Okay. But yeah, enjoying it.
And because the common denominator among all of you is you all went to Tokyo. So can I just ask you, where were you when you got the news that that's it, you're onto that plane, you're going to Tokyo? And not only where were you, and how did you react to it? Max?
So Aoife and I qualified at the final Olympic qualification regatta in Lucerne in Switzerland in May. So it's kind of like a regatta known as the Regatta of Death. So like the qualifiers for the Olympics are usually a year before the Olympics. So a lot of crews had already qualified, but then in this regatta, only 2 or 3 crews can qualify in all of the entries or whatever. So Aoife and I went with the challenge of qualifying, and like obviously it was our goal and stuff to qualify. Like that's what we'd been training for the past few years, but like it was just a bit like surreal at the time because we just couldn't believe that we actually did it. And like yeah, it was a great day, and like yeah, something I'll never forget, definitely.
Yeah, because I remember, I think you and I did a podcast, I think it was a year ago. And one of the questions I asked you was like, okay, what's the goal? And you were very casual about the whole thing. You were like, well, we'll see. I mean, so far we'll keep pushing, but we'll see what that leads us. And boom, you're on a plane to Tokyo. I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah, like it's mad like that it actually happened. But at the same time, like we were working really hard towards it. You know what I mean? Like when we were there and stuff like that, we were just like, we're just going to have to take a leap of faith and believe that like everyone here obviously deserves it, but like we need to believe like we deserve it as well. And just give it everything and see what happens. Yeah. That was the thing. Like, and it was really nice because like, we didn't put savage pressure on ourselves either. And like halfway through the race, we were like, oh my God, we can actually do it. So it was mad, like, but it was just so good. It was really great. Yeah.
Aoife, did you have the same realization halfway through the race? I was like, it's there. We got this.
Yeah.
Did you? Sorry. Yeah, did you have the same understanding that, same as Max, that halfway through the race?
Yeah,
close to it?
the race is 2 kilometers long, so it's a pretty long race. So you can't really go off like the clappers, and rarely like people would win from the start. So it's kind of like you have to race a tactical race, and just like when it's literally. So there was 3 people who were able to qualify for my race, so you had to come in the top 3. So like that's all we were thinking half the race, keep going. And then it was kind of in the last 750 meters, I think we were like 4th place, and I was like, okay, look, we can either bow down now and just end up in 4th place, or we can actually go for it and give it our best and just see what happens. And I think that was what really kind of clicked with us in the last like 2 minutes of the race. We were like, okay, just go together, and if you're doing your best, I'll do my best, and then we'll see what happens. So it's kind of like in the last 20 strokes that we got ahead of the Chinese. They were in 3rd place, and we ended up taking the last spot. So I think our reactions were like the total opposite after the race. So like Max was ecstatic and just like delighted, and then I was literally bawling my eyes out, like the journey like of having not qualified the boat, because I was in the boat in 2019 when it was the World Champs that we didn't qualify then, and then it was such a long winter, and you know the challenges of training during lockdown and COVID, and there was a lot of uncertainty as well as a lot of like, you know, when you're going towards a goal, it's really hard to motivate yourself every day to get that goal. So I think it was like a realization, kind of like a dawning moment for me, that if you just keep working, keep training hard, that you will achieve. So like we were both at the opposite end of the spectrum when it came to emotion, but we were all both just so happy, and it was like a pinch me moment that I really didn't think, you wouldn't have known, because the competition was so tight, who would have qualified. So to be on the right side of that was really like amazing, just an unreal feeling.
What about you, Mary? What was your experience about the qualification and going to the Paralympics, and when you heard the news?
That's it. So I knew around that period that the team was going to be announced, that I was going to be given, like, I was going to get a call saying whether I qualified or didn't qualify. So it was a nerve-wracking period. So that particular day, I just woke up. It was just your average day. I was actually in the middle of a gym session here at home in Kilkenny when I got the call from my athletics, the athletics manager in Paralympics Ireland. And even though I knew I was going to be told around that time, I didn't think that call was the call telling me that I was going to qualify. So yeah, when I was told, I was, like the girl said, just over the moon, excited. Like, it's possibly, you could say, the biggest competition of your life. So when you put in so much work and everything you do is focused on that, not only sporting wise, but everything else in your life, you work everything else around achieving that one goal of qualifying for Paralympic Games. And yeah, I was just absolutely delighted, over the moon. Over the moon, shocked, but yeah, delighted. Lots of emotions.
Tara, because you went to Tokyo as the reserve. So how was your experience with the whole thing? Like when you heard that you were going to be a reserve?
Yeah, obviously my experience was a bit different to the girls, but
Tara froze. You still here? No, we lost Tara. So before we move on to the flights and the experience going to the village and all that, I'm going to ask you, when you joined the sport, was it your ambition to become an Olympian? When you joined the sport, rowing or shot putting, it was like, you know what? It's fun. I got this, but my ambition is to become a Paralympian or to become an Olympic athlete. Did you have that right from the start? We'll start with Mary.
Yeah, I think possibly yes. I suppose I think what kind of got me into parasport was watching the London 2012 Paralympic Games and watching not only the top Irish Paralympians like Jason Smith and Michael McKillop, but Paralympians all over the world, and kind of changing the way that disability was perceived, and also seeing competitive sport portrayed in that way. And I was really, okay, yeah, I want to be like them. And I suppose I was 13 at that time, but I was very much, okay, yeah, I'm going to represent my country someday. I want to compete at the Paralympic Games. But yeah, also as well as that, I'm a very competitive person and stuff like that, but I have a true love for the sport as well, and true love for it. So I think that's what sustains it. So I have the drive to be like one of the best in the world, but I think when you enjoy the sessions that you do every day, that's really going to sustain you. Yeah, definitely.
Tara, you're back. We lost you for a second. So Yeah. So, what was your experience of as a reserve of hearing that call that you're onto the flight? And the question I was just asking to Mary and to Max and Aoife is, when you joined the sport, was it your ambition to become an Olympian?
Yeah, sorry about the connection there.
That's okay. It's all good.
No, I definitely don't think I had ambition to become an Olympian when I joined the sport, to be honest. Like, I'm from Cork myself, and the rowing centre was only like 20 minutes from my house. So like, I'm very lucky that I'm close by. So I just kind of joined the sport for, like, I always did Irish dancing, and I kind of wanted something different because you kind of stop Irish dancing in your teens. So then I joined rowing, and then I just kind of like fell in love with it and really like trained hard to like make the Irish team as a junior and to win championships and stuff. But after that, I kind of was planning on giving it up and living my college life. But then I kind of got roped into it with Emily Hegarty. She joined UCC, so we kind of started rowing together in first year college, but still were able to like balance study and college and training. So that was kind of nice. And then I kind of just got roped into Rowing Ireland training from then on, and kind of found myself at World Cups and the Senior World Championships in 2019 trying to qualify the boat, and I kind of didn't really expect it at all, really. And I know like some of the other athletes, and like Emily and Aoife and Margaret probably did all have the Olympics on their radar, but I really didn't. So like, obviously me going as a reserve was a huge achievement, and I was really proud to go as the reserve. And like the girls as well, like the girls 4 qualified at the last Chance Regatta too, so I only kind of heard after that I was going to be going, because obviously you have to qualify a 4 to qualify a reserve. So it was kind of a late in the season to know whether I'd be going as well. So yeah, it was just a really amazing experience getting to support the whole team and everything.
So Max and Aoife, was it in your radar to become an Olympian?
Yeah, like I suppose after a while, like the girls were saying, like I, to be honest, didn't want to join rowing, but my friends were rowing, and like my parents were just mad to get me to join rowing, just to, I suppose, get out of the house and get off the streets or whatever. But yeah, so initially no, but like I'm just a really competitive person, to be honest. So like, and rowing, like I think everyone will say that rows, it's a bit addictive, like, because like the people you spend the time with, like, are like your family, because you're training so often, you're down in the club or down at the rowing centre so often, so it just kind of gets addictive. And then you start seeing gains, and then you're just, yeah. And I suppose then just like after 2016 Olympics, like rowing kind of blew up a bit. So like, you know, so it was kind of like, then it was like, wow, I think it's kind of like, if other people can do it, maybe you can as well, you know. And then you give it a go, and then you, like I said, you start seeing the gains or whatever, and then yeah, and it just became a goal from there then, to be honest. Yeah.
Aoife, was there any pressure on you? Because I believe your family is big into rowing. Is it fair to say?
Yeah. So like I started rowing because like I suppose I have kind of a rowing family, and we all row, and that's kind of like what we talk around the dinner table and stuff. So I just lived beside the river in Skibbereen as well, and I suppose everyone knows Skibbereen to be kind of like a hub for rowing. So it was kind of just like almost destined for me to jump on a boat. And I suppose at the start of rowing, I was 11 or 12. Like I didn't really enjoy it, but like when you're there training with all your friends and getting on the water and just having fun, that's kind of like how my path to rowing started. And I suppose you always dream as a kid, oh, I'd love to go to the Olympics, and you know, you might know and what, but I suppose I started rowing pretty early on. So like it was always like, I saw Eugene Coakley and Timmy Harnedy, they were Olympians from Skibbereen that went in a 4 to Athens and a few other Olympics. And I suppose throughout the years you'd see like the success of Skibbereen Rowing Club itself, just winning championships and winning, I suppose, international competitions, people representing their country. So for me, kind of like, was just all about the process. So you train each year and you try and win champs, and you try and beat Mags in the Scull or different stuff like that. Like, because you know everyone kind of in the rowing community, because it's pretty small in Ireland. So you kind of start off just trying to beat people beside you and then beat other clubs. And kind of like my first international competition was with Emily Hegarty in 2015 in a double. And that kind of like really fed my hunger to be like, okay, I want to do this. I want to do this really well and give it my best shot. And I suppose, yes, the Olympics was always on my radar, but at the same time, it was just more so about the process and enjoying it and getting the training done. And, you know, I suppose it wasn't until honestly I crossed that line at the last chance regatta that I realized, whoa, it happened. I've, you know, my dreams come true kind of thing. So yeah, it's been a long process, but I think it's more so about just enjoying, like, have the dreams and just enjoying getting there as well, because you can't be too focused either.
You're talking about the process, and one of the things that links all of you is you are all Quercus student athletes. Am I right? And for the people who don't know, Quercus is a program that is sponsored by Ford, and it's a scholarship program that supports and promotes excellence in academia, sport, creative performing art, active citizen, innovation, entrepreneurship, and is managed by the incredible Michelle Power. And when pre-Tokyo, it wasn't like a normal year. You were a student athlete in the middle of a pandemic, having to go through lockdown. And firstly, how did you manage it, training and gearing up for Olympic, Paralympic? And how did Quercus help you to achieve your full potential? I don't know, whoever want to take the question, whoever.
Do you want to hear?
Sure, yeah. I suppose, lockdown was a challenging period, I suppose, for everybody, definitely. But I suppose in terms of being an athlete, you train for a certain block of time and then you reap the rewards of all your hard work in competitions. And when we had such a long period when there weren't competitions, there were definitely days when it was tricky to be motivated, like it was hard to be motivated or get up in the morning. But what I kind of reminded myself was I didn't work this hard, or I didn't come this far to only come this far. And the goal, like, of qualifying for the Tokyo Paralympic Games and competing there, the goal was still the same, only the date just changed. That was kind of the approach I took to it. But also I just kind of, just try to invest in that process and remembering that, okay, the work I put in today, like, and the weeks of hard work I put in, the months, the seasons, everything, I will thank myself for it later. And yeah, to answer your second question, Quercus definitely have been so supportive on my journey to the Tokyo Paralympic Games, because it is definitely tricky being a student athlete, balancing both university studies and full-time training, really. But yeah, to have them on board just to kind of, of course, ensure that there's good communication between everybody involved, but also if there's something like, just say at the Tokyo Paralympic Games, I had to defer some academic assignments and stuff like that. And again, they were totally just on board with allowing me to reach my full potential and just, I don't know if I'm wording that well, but just ensuring that I could be the best athlete I could be. And
If you're about to say something.
Yeah, for me, definitely, I think I've been on Quercus since I started in first year in UCC in 2018, and like just throughout the years, like the constant like support and the phone calls to check in and how I am, and what's the plan for the international season, and do I need to have a mediator between, like when I was starting first year, I hadn't a clue how college worked at all. And just to have Elaine and Michelle in the office, being able to ring them whenever I was like, oh, if I'm going on a training camp, how do I defer an assignment for a week later and stuff like that they helped so much. And I remember in 2020, the boat wasn't qualified and we were planning to go to the last chance qualification regatta that May, and I was like, okay, let's split the year and do it next year. But that lasted like 3 months, and then the pandemic hit, and it was within like the first week that we were all at home trying to erg in our back gardens and in the garage and stuff like that. I was finding it really hard, and it was kind of like when you're just rowing full time, it's a long slog when it's just rowing on your mind. And I was kind of like, okay, should can I go back to college? Should I try and catch up on my semester 2 lectures? And then before I'd even that thought fully matured, Michelle had rang me on the phone and was like, okay, do you want to, like, she was 2 steps ahead of me the whole time, just like, do you want to go back to college? And I did semester 2 exams that August then, and I was able to continue on like nothing happened, which was like really just the fact that they're Elaine and Michelle and the whole Quercus, it's like a big family really, that there's a constant source of support and help and advice, and just in any you can talk to them about anything, that they're just a well of knowledge, really, that I've really appreciated the help I've got from them over the past few years.
Mike, Tara, did you have the same experience?
Definitely, like, like the girls were saying, like, it's just like there's constant support there with from Elaine and Michelle. Like, even like they've had so many athletes go through the program that they know like how they know the struggle of trying to balance college and full-time training and stuff. And like, they were saying you can do this. They were like, exploring options that I didn't even know that I had. Which was great. And yeah, like the girls were saying, like in the pandemic, like having to like defer years and do exams in August, and that stress, it was kind of like they put the stress at ease, and like really helped that way. But even, to be honest, just the nice like texts when we're away at regattas, like checking in, like, and stuff like that, like all the support. And like Michelle was at the Irish Champs with us, which was really nice. Just like, it's nice, like, and yeah, like I couldn't recommend the scholarship program anymore. I think everyone should apply for it if they feel that they might have a slight chance, because it's just like, I don't think we would have got where we were without it. And I'd say that yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, definitely. So
Tara, do you concur? Or do you agree?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think Quirkers has been like just an amazing program to be a part of, and like they give you so many opportunities. And Michelle is like always on the always replies within minutes. If you've any little problem with anything at all, she's always there. And I think at the moment we're struggling a bit with facilities in UCC for training. We don't really have a set space to train at the moment, which is quite frustrating for us coming back from like the Olympics and having to go into full-time college now with training. We're really looking for a set place to train. We've no clubhouse or no ergroom or anything, but Michelle has just been behind us 100% and is always fighting our corner with us. And I think she's definitely someone we can all call on, and we know that she'll back us up 100%. With any kind of issues like that, and she just wants to make our life as easy as possible. And the whole Quirkers program really like just helps you balance like your academics and your sporting goals.
Can I ask you, Daniel, who's online, has asked, who inspired you to get this far in your career? Is there someone specific who inspired you to push you that far? I don't know. Tara, Mary, Max, Aoife?
I think for me, no, I couldn't really say like one person, because like there's so many, especially in the sport of rowing, like it's a really tough sport, and even showing up to training when it's -degrees and you're going in the water, or it's raining and windy and you really want to do it, just kind of like looking around at the Rowing Ireland team at the minute and just seeing, like, I suppose finding strength in numbers really, and just, just looking across Mags, and she's always pulling as hard as she can. Like, that's motivation enough for me to be like, okay, get your shit together, start pulling out too. But like, just looking, I suppose, even the friends I've made in rowing, seeing how far they've come, and I suppose every sport there's highs and lows to everybody's career, but able to really like bond together and find that strength, between us all, kind of thing. That's where I'd find my daily motivation. And I can always call on my mom and dad for inspiration if the times are tough as well. So it's more so just like the daily life of friends and family, being able to try to make them proud and get the training done.
Can I talk about Tokyo, and how was it to go into the village? Because the village, the Olympic Village, it's like, it's not normal. It's not a normal environment. It's pretty insane in there. You have, the food hall is open 24/7 with everything that you want under the sun. Everything is available to you. How did you react to this environment? And what was your prep going into the competition? So, yeah, Mary?
So I suppose I remember, walking in like to the village on day one and just being totally struck by the sheer size of it. You have thousands and thousands of athletes in one place at one time. These are the best of the best athletes in the world, basically the top 10, 20, 30 in the world in one place at one time, competing to be the best. So being in that environment, and just the fact that, you know, walking in and say, yeah, okay, I'm here right now, but I deserve to be here and I deserve to be amongst these athletes. Yeah, just an amazing experience. And yeah, the food hall is definitely a plus, I must say, 24/7, definitely a nice touch. But yeah, it's just, I suppose, from my point of view, with a lot of the top athletics competitions that I go to worldwide, usually it's exclusively athletics. But at the Paralympic Games, you have every sport under the sun. So swimming, horse riding, the list goes on. And just being a part of that, it's just a memory that I will never forget. Just being part of that experience and say you were there. Yeah, definitely amazing. Definitely.
Magzifa?
And oh yeah, sorry, I wasn't sure if I was unmuted. Yeah, like the first day we went to the village, it was kind of like a pinch me moment. Like it was mad. Like there was so much going on, because like, you know, we got to the apartment, you know, like there was loads of apartment blocks for each country, you know, mm-hmm. And like there were like stuff laid out on the bed, like Olympic towels, like phones, like ear pods and duvets and stuff, like all, like there was so many like nice things there. And like then there was like the food hall, the merch shop, all the shops and stuff. We were like, we didn't know where to start, and it was like we were being spoiled, and we'd never been so spoiled in our lives, you know what I mean? And it was like, wow. But at the same time, like it was kind of like, you know, you had to like be like, hey, yeah, we kind of deserve it, you know, yeah. Like it was kind of exhausting, to be honest, the first day, because we'd so many steps done. We were literally like, hey, like after tomorrow we're not leaving the apartment because we'll only get tired. But like it was crazy. But like it's only like looking back on photos and videos now, that which I'm so glad I took, I'm like, that actually happened. Like that's crazy. And yeah, it was great.
Tara, did you have the same experience?
Yeah, I think the village was like insane. Like I think and even with like restrictions and lockdown and stuff, I think we were all a bit like wary, and like we'd heard from other like holding camps and stuff that like people were kind of in lockdown nearly, like they kind of couldn't leave their hotels and were kind of stuck in their room. And even like when we first went to Tokyo, we went to Fukuroi City and we're in this like gorgeous Japanese hotel, the whole of the Irish team, and like it was just amazing, and we felt like we were on holidays for a few days, and we were on just the Row Perfect. So that was like a really nice like introduction to Japan. And then obviously we went to the village, and I think we kind of did think we'd be kind of like locked down a bit, but like the village is actually so much bigger than I thought it would be. And like even like seeing the Olympic rings, and yeah, the merch shop was unreal as well. But yeah, like there was so much to do to make sure you were.
Oh, she froze. Aoife, can I ask you, when did you go from, wow, this is amazing, this is incredible, the merch shop is fantastic, the food hall is great, to we're here for business? Let's get down to it.
The way it was set up was that for the rowing course anyway, it was kind of a way, like a 20-minute bus journey to and from the village. So I kind of think in that, like in those 20 minutes, you were able to kind of refocus. You're heading down training, you're heading to your race, or whatever, you're on the bus, listen to your music, head out the window sometimes, just having a look at the sights. But it was a really good kind of opportunity to relax, kind of think about, okay, what are we focusing on for this session, this race? That those kind of 20 minutes, you were able to unwind and kind of amp up from, kind of switch modes from tourist mode in the village to kind of like racing mode. And I think kind of like once you had the first few days, because we're in the village for about a week, I think, before the racing started. So you had those few days of kind of excitement and checking out all the different spots and taking pictures at the rings and all, you know, the stuff to do at the village. And you were able to kind of get that out of your system. And then once kind of racing started, we had our first race. It was kind of like where you kind of had to take a moment to say, wow, like we've made it this far. We've achieved so much, but like let's keep our heads in the game kind of thing, and just be focused on, okay, we're here to do a job and do our best possible performance each race. And I think that's what me and Max felt a lot, was that, like, you know, there we didn't feel any pressure on us to perform, or, you know, just like there wasn't anything really. So we were able to really do our best and think, okay, this is for us, and do our best each race and build each performance. So I think just kind of like having the first 2 days of fun and then down to business, because at the end of the day we were there to race and put out our best performance. And I think we did that at the end of the day. And then you had a few days after your racing to enjoy yourself again. So it was kind of like the best of both worlds.
During the competition, I mean, Tokyo is it's fairly hot, extremely humid. This is definitely not Ireland, and, you know, 15, 16 degrees and kind of moderate weather. I know, Mary, when you competed, it was monsoon-like. And I know in rowing, I think one of the boats, I don't know what nation, capsized. One of the boats literally went into the other lane. There was some kind of, you know, dicey situation. I start with Mary. Mary, did the rain impacted on you psychologically, on your performance, and how do you approach that?
Yeah, so I suppose in the build up to Tokyo, it was all about heat strategies and the humidity levels, and it was humid throughout, like, the whole, like throughout the full month that we were there. Mm-hmm. But so literally in the months build up to Tokyo, in the few months in the build up, I was focusing on sauna sessions in heat chambers, getting those sessions in, and it was all about that. And then all of a sudden I walk out for my competition, and the first thing I see, lashing rain, everybody putting their coats on, hoods up, far from ideal in terms of definitely not what we prepared for, and definitely not what we wanted, especially for shot put. But it was very much I kind of told myself very quickly, okay, this is not what I want, but this is an uncontrollable. I cannot control this. I have no bearing over it. So I have to work with what I've got. Everybody here has to deal with the same thing. So I just have to do the best that I can. So naturally, because you're rotating through a circle and driving across a circle, rain definitely affects your grip. So it affects your speed moving across the circle. So of course, if I had a choice, I would have picked a lovely, dry, sunny day, definitely 100%. But I just had to focus on what I could do best at that time, and just remember those days, those wet, rainy days that I've competed in back in Ireland, and see what I could transfer to the rain at the Tokyo Paralympic Games. So yeah, I suppose focusing on what I could control, like I could control my approach and my reaction to the situation, and that's what I tried to do in the day.
Tara, Max or Aoife, because when you have to go into, under the water, and it's a little bit wavy, it's fairly windy, did you, in your mind, is it like, okay, I have to play safe, we have to play safe, or was it like, no, let's go for broke? What was your approach on on the performance on the day itself?
I think for me and Mags anyway, there's been so many, I suppose, because we qualified late compared to other crews. Back in May we had like maybe 2 months of actual, okay, we're going to the Olympics, kind of Olympic preparation. But before that, it was just always, okay, you wanted to make as much speed as you can in the winter, and because we didn't know whether we're going to qualify or not, so we were really training so hard, so consistently, and getting out in the National Rowing Centre where we train, and the weather there is very up and down. So like there's so many memories that I have of being in the double with Mags, going above the bridge and doing our long steady state sessions, and it would be lashing rain, and it would be so windy and rough, and it would be in the evening, and it would just be us out because everyone else would be like, okay, stay on land or whatever. But we were always made go out and ride the waves and just get better, kind of technically as well as physiologically. So when it came to Tokyo, and to see that, first of all, we had humidity to deal with, and we did prepare the same as Mary with that, but it was also really rough and windy, which was kind of like, unlike, like we're not an open water sport. It's usually calm water or maybe a bit of a wind, but it's never, I say that was the windiest regatta I've ever been to. And like you have to just deal with the conditions. And when I saw the waves, I was like to Mags, okay, this is our chance. Like we really took it in our stride, because I felt like we did so much training that prepared us for that. And to think back to all the water sessions we did when it was really rough and windy, and everyone knows the weather in Ireland, how gusty and awful and the storms it can be, especially during the winter, that I felt like we were really well prepared, and we definitely took that opportunity and did our best with the waves. And, you know, we said that we're really going to put up to the cruise to do our best, and I think we really did. I think we almost enjoyed the waves, you know, when you know we don't like rough water, but we know we're good in rough water. So that was kind of like motivation for us, and, you know, we were able to really give it our best shot, I think.
So the competition day, the final day of competition came in, and because of COVID, you had 48 hours to leave the country, which is not usual. Usually you can stay until the closing day, but you had to leave quite fast. And so you translated really fast from the wonderful Olympic Village to, let's go back to Ireland. And notoriously, it's known that Olympic athletes have some difficulty translating from, you know, the Olympic event in itself to go back to some kind of normal life. So, because we only have 5 minutes left, and I'd just like to briefly explore, how was it for you to go back to Ireland and then to transit back into your student life? So whoever wants to start with, I don't mind. Tara?
I think for us anyway, we were kind of lucky. Me, Mags, and Aoife had exams. I don't know, did Mary have exams as well? So when we came home, we kind of had to get straight into studying for the exams that we'd moved to August. So it was kind of like, oh, go. And we couldn't really think about anything other than getting the exams done. And then as soon as our exams were done, we had to race the National Irish Championships. So we did like 2 weeks, basically race prep for that as well. We were like, we were all quick as athletes, and we had we actually ended up winning all the senior women's events, which was so good for the college and so good for us. So the girls won the double, and we won the pair, 8-4 singles. It was just really good weekend. So I think that was nice to kind of go back and row with our club for a bit and have a bit of like a fun training, but like still competition. And then we actually all ended up going on holidays together, which was nice as well, for a bit of a break. So I think it was only when we came back from holidays, it kind of hit me like, oh my God, kind of back to the next year. And like, it kind of was a bit of a shock, and like wondering what, like the uncertainty of what was training going to be like and what was college going to be like. But like, I think it's kind of good, like us all going back into full-time college again, getting back into the routine of it. And obviously post-COVID, it's really nice being back on campus again and having that proper college experience for my final year anyway. Like, I'm really happy because I know my friends all missed out on it last year. And I think with training now, we're just kind of getting back into the swing of things and focusing just on Paris really, and like even just taking the process year on year. Like, there's no let up really. So it's just like straight back into balancing college and training again.
So you mentioned the P word, Paris. Is it the target for all of you? Mary, we'll start with Mary.
Yeah, I think because I just fell in love with the whole Tokyo experience and the Paralympic experience, I think when we were finishing up at Tokyo, I was like, right, okay, Paris. I think I was like, okay, of course I have World Championships and Europeans in between. But yeah, I think you just fall in love with the whole idea of the Olympic and Paralympic Games. And yeah, it's extremely exciting to be a part of it. So yeah, so I hope to graduate. I'm in my final year at the moment. I hope to graduate next year. And then I hope to give 2 years to full-time to athletics full-time in the Paris, and then of course hopefully qualify and compete at the Paralympic Games in Paris, and then possibly pursue a master's after that. But I'm kind of excited to see how things will be like when I pursue sport full-time. I suppose it's like I enjoy being a student athlete, but I'm excited to see how things will go. But of course, then things could totally change. That's my plan at the moment, but that could change. But yes, I'm definitely hoping to go to Paris, definitely.
So, Mags, Aoife, will the magical duo be in Paris?
Yeah, no, definitely, that's the plan. Do you know, like Mary was saying, like, do you know, like we thought we loved rowing before Tokyo, but like I really think that like it like grew our love, well, definitely for rowing even more, because and like increase like you know, grew our motivation and stuff, because like, you know, I don't know, it was just a totally different experience, even though like we were racing like we always race and stuff. Like it was, you know, it was crazy. And like even like the motivation to have our family and friends over to like the Olympics as well, it would be a huge motivation. And yeah, like I think like if you enjoy what you do, like, you know, why not? And like it's at the same time, it's only like, I don't know, is it like 2 years, 9 months or something away? So that's not too far away.
No, it's close.
Yeah, definitely. And like, you know, we're young as well, so like, I mean, why not? And also Paris is the last Olympics for lightweight rowing as well, so
okay.
So it's definitely very, yeah. I just
so before we wrap it up, because we're reaching the time, I can ask you a question, one final question to each of you. If you had the opportunity to put a big, let's say, billboard in the quad in UCC, and you could put any message out there, anything you want, what would it be? Tara.
I think I would say give us an erg-room.
We want an erg-room.
We want an erg-room. I'd just probably say one of my coaches, David McGowan, once told me to not be a neutered cat, and I really liked that phrase, and I think I take it with me. So yeah, don't sit back and just if you're not happy with something, speak your mind and stick up for yourself and believe in yourself.
That's a great advice. Aoife?
For me, I think it would probably be like dream big and just enjoy the process. That, okay, everyone has dreams, and like what defines you from a different person is your ability to like work through it and do whatever that is, the daily grind, training, studying, whatever you want to achieve, but just take it day by day and enjoy the ups and downs. And you know, that's my biggest takeaway from my Olympic experience. And I suppose the journey that started off when I was in first year college and I hadn't a clue how to submit an assignment or anything like that, but like not be afraid to ask questions, whether it's study, college, training, everything. Kind of dream big and just do your best from then on.
Okay, thank you. Mags?
Yeah, I'm not too sure. I would say something like I don't know, like no matter what comes your way, just to stick in there and you know, because like it's always going to be worth it in the end. Like if you do stick in there and make it like to where you want it to be, like it'll always be worth it in the end. So I think if you just hang in there, no matter what obstacle comes your way, it'll be worth it, and the feeling will be worth it in the end, I think. Okay,
thank you. And Mary, what would you put on that billboard?
It's hard to pinpoint one, but I'd probably say something like, as cheesy as it sounds, something like believe in yourself and you can take on the world. I just think if you have that belief in yourself, in your abilities, and it's definitely not easy. It's definitely not easy sometimes to have that belief, but I think when you invest in yourself and focus on your journey and bring it all back to you, nearly be selfish about it, about where you want to be, what you want to achieve, where you want to go, no matter what area of life. I think just if you have that belief in yourself, you can really do anything.
Okay, thank you. Well, that's all we have time for. I really want to thank you. You are an unbelievable role model. I really mean it, because I know as a student athlete, it's extremely hard to be able to compete at the top and to get a degree at the main time. And I know it's not easy at all. And I really admire what you do, and really want to thank you for your time. Thanks a lot, and have a good afternoon.
Thanks a million, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.